Thank you, everybody, and thanks for your patience as we kind of fixed some IT issues up here, so hopefully everything goes smoothly the rest of the day. I just wanted to say good morning and welcome everybody to the Neurobiology and Changing Environment Symposium that's co-hosted by ourselves and the Kavli Foundation in collaboration with NSF and the Grass Foundation. I'm Julie Harris, I'm the VP of the Frontiers Group. And we're all really happy to welcome you to this meeting here at the Allen Institute today, as it's been a really fun opportunity to bring everybody together to discuss and learn about this kind of new, exciting, emerging area of science. Before we get started, I wanted to take a moment to remind everybody here of our collective responsibility to create a safe and respectful environment where everyone feels that they belong. You can find our Allen Institute Code of Conduct using this QR code if you have any questions here. And then I wanted to just give you a little bit of kind of background on the Allen Institute since you're here at our headquarters. So the Allen Institute was launched in September of 2003 by Paul Allen and Jody Allen, and we're now at almost 1,000 employees, 975 employees. All of our team members work to fulfill our mission of understanding life and advancing health. So what we do is try to really tackle the big thorny questions in bioscience, and we approach them in ways that are set by our 4 core principles. So these 4 principles are here. They're big science, team science, open science, and impact. Big science means to us that we take on big problems through these kind of so-called moonshot projects, and we create standardized pipelines that can be used to produce large-scale data sets. Team science means that we work in collaborative interdisciplinary teams to tackle those big problems together, pulling together expertise so no one person is really trying to go it alone. And then we're generally pretty well known for our open science core principle here. We share our data, our tools, our models, our reagents, and even more with the community. And then finally, our kind of North Star core principle is impact. And what we mean by that is impact is kind of through improving our understanding of an area of biology, as well as an impact on how we go about, all of us go about doing science and sharing science. So the Allen Institute is comprised of 6 science units or moonshot programs that are shown here. We have these programs at kind of different stages in brain science and neural dynamics, in cell science, immunology, and the newest member of this is the Seattle Hub for Synthetic Biology. Researchers in these teams are working in labs and at computers to really try to understand our brain, our cells, our immune system, and even life itself. It's like the bold, most exciting thing to say, right? So the Frontiers group is also on here. We're a little bit different than the others. We help to support this kind of bold and visionary science outside the walls of the Allen Institute to try to really fulfill Paul Allen's quest to push the bounds of knowledge at the frontiers of bioscience. So you'll hear more about the Frontiers group from Jody Lilly shortly. And I'm going to actually just turn it over right away to my colleague here, Dr. Amy Bernard from the Kavli Foundation.
Well, thank you, Julie, and thank you to everybody who's here, who's traveled far and wide to be here at the Allen Institute. I myself was at the Allen Institute for 16 years before I joined the Kavli Foundation. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the Kavli Foundation, which is the co-sponsor for this event, it's an organization, a nonprofit philanthropic organization that was founded by Fred Kavli, who is a Norwegian-American entrepreneur who believed that science should really be utilized for the benefit of humanity. He founded the Kavli Foundation in 2000. It's based physically in LA, and the vision is to stimulate scientific research in 4 different fields, only one of which is neuroscience. We also do research support in astrophysics, nanoscience, and theoretical physics as well. We also look for ways that we can support the connections between science and society, and we look to honor scientific work and excellent discoveries by scientists with the Kavli Prize. So that's just a little bit about why the Kavli Foundation exists and its origins. Our mission in the current mode that we're in is to support emerging scientific fields and catalyze development for areas of new discovery. And we achieve this through identification of what we consider to be transformative opportunities, such as the field of neurobiology and changing environments. And in terms of our thematic areas, we select these because of their timeliness in society, in the scientific inquiry space, or because of a pressing problem that the world is facing. We also look to do our work through making grants specifically to scientists and through partnering with other organizations such as the Allen Institute, the Frontiers Group, people who are similar to us wanting to accelerate science and discovery. And I mentioned that we had 4 different areas that we focus in. I'll just tell you just a little bit about those, even though that's not what the meeting's about, but people sometimes wonder, why these areas, why these fields? And it's because Fred Kavli believed in the importance of future discovery and what he was terming the very big, the very small, and the very complex. And so I just wanted to note that we do have themes that we support in these other fields. In astrophysics, we look for ways that new instrumentation can further discovery in that field. We also have a program looking at signatures of life in the universe, which isn't so much the tiny green men, but more of biomolecules that are fundamental building blocks of the universe. We also have the field of nanoscience that we support in terms of nanoscience for sustainability, that in terms of materials and methods that could advance us into better utilization of materials for future sustainability purposes. And then we have a program in quantum materials as well. In neuroscience, we formed an initiative in neurobiology and changing ecosystems about 3 years ago now. We also support science that is open. This is inspired also by a lot of work that's really been here at the Allen Institute for so many years, and the importance of reutilizing and mining data for discovery once it's already been created to learn new things from that data. And then our program in Observe and Measure the Mind is really about advancing new techniques of peering into the brain, of new technologies that can facilitate literally looking at the brain or having indicators of how it functions, and the idea that new science emerges from new technology. And then our theoretical physics work that we do is actually now instantiated mostly just in the form of a Kavli Institute. And I'm going to just briefly mention again what Kavli Institutes are. So in addition to the grant-making programs that we do, there are 20 Kavli Institutes that are endowed at universities of excellence around the globe. I'm not going to go through this in detail other than to just note that sometimes say, oh, you're at the Kavli Foundation, which institute is that? And there are 2 different entities. So Kavli Institutes are fully autonomous within their own organizations, not housed at the Kavli Foundation, which is in LA, but in their own home universities. And so some of you actually, I think from even some of the Kavli Institutes are affiliated with Kavli Institutes here today. And those Kavli Institutes they don't have agendas or programs that the Kavli Foundation supports directly. They do their own thing and then benefit from the endowment. So what do we do at the Kavli Foundation? So right now, I'd mentioned we have our grant-making program. Some of you are recipients of grant funding that we have in these 3 different themes that we're working on right now. Neurobiology and changing ecosystems is by far our largest theme right now. And I won't go into the details of all of that because actually Angie Michaela is going to be telling you a little bit more about that work. But I will say that one of the reasons why we did feel that this is such an important theme for us to support is that we really don't know that much, or as much as we want to know, about how brains or nervous systems are impacted by or resilient to our changing world. And that's really kind of our underlying discovery thought that we had when a few years ago we decided we really wanted to know more about what scientists were doing in this field and what we could do as a funding organization to maybe fill gaps that were there that would permit scientists to ask these key basic scientific questions to answer this. And so we believe that for philanthropy, a critical role for us is to really start the risky stuff, the early stage stuff, and that's what we were doing. And I did just want to give a shout out at this time for the fact that many of you might have noticed that in your programs it mentions that there's going to be people from the National Science Foundation here. Regretfully, they're unable to attend in person. We'd really hoped they would be able to, but they're unable to during this time because of a travel restriction that they have. However, we're still actively collaborating with the National Science Foundation. The program officers that we've been working with are still very much engaged. And it means we'll have a little extra flex time in the program because they won't be here to tell you more about what their programs are. So I did just want to wrap up for this particular session, acknowledging not just all the people that have helped put this conference together across the board, but also people from the Kavli Foundation, 2 of whom are here, but more of whom are sort of behind the scenes who you won't see. So Angie, who's going to be speaking next, she's the Associate Program Officer who's really been championing most of what we've been doing in the field of neurobiology and changing ecosystems at the Kavli Foundation. And Stephanie Albin, who's a program officer as well, she's here, and she's been working in particularly closely with the National Science Foundation on that program development. And then Kelsey Laurent and Darren Boss, they're not here, but they've been very much involved also in terms of developing program. And this is the whole, we don't have 970 people, we have about 22 at the Kavli Foundation. And we're just really excited to be able to support this work, and I'm so much looking forward to what the scientists have to tell us about what's happening. Okay, so with that, I'm going to hand it over to Angie.